NBC27 Digital Now Center. This is Beyond the Forecast with your most accurate local meteorologists.
Well, we are here live with you on a Tuesday, and it is great to chat about some weather. And we might have some active weather later today, everybody, with some severe storms in the forecast, and that does include the chance for some flash flooding. We will be talking about it all and breaking down the chances as we stay rather hot and humid here for the week ahead. It is midsummer, after all. We are beyond July 4th now, and we are statistically in the hottest time of the year. So it should be warm, it should be humid, and we've got it all for you over the course of the next week or so. Let's show you what we have in terms of headlines today as we take a look at Eville. And my goodness, it is going to be a warm day. We know that. That is going to lead to the potential for some severe storms later. So for those of you with outdoor plans today, a heads up. These storms are going to be around, staying hot and humid then the rest of the week with more storms later. Almost a daily chance of this happening. Now, I think some days the storm chances are going to be higher than others, and I think today a pretty high chance, and I think Sunday, the way things are shaping up, a fairly decent chance. Here's Elizabethtown. We go from Eville to E-Town, and Elizabethtown looking good. Some haze building on the horizon, but it is almost a cloudless sky over parts of Lancaster County here early today. But notice we do have some storms forming over eastern Ohio, and those are the beginnings of what I think will be a stormy afternoon for us here. Now, some models suggest these storms are going to occur throughout the afternoon, and then it quiets down this evening. I think our eastern counties from late afternoon into early this evening have the best chance of seeing some very active weather, but it's really this little cluster right here in eastern Ohio that is going to move to the east and give us the chance for some severe weather later today. And again, the atmosphere is primed for it. Look at the temperatures. 80 already in Philadelphia, 77 in Harrisburg, 78 in Baltimore. So that I-95 corridor, again, is primed for some action here later today. Current dew points are high, too. Anytime we have dew points in the 70s, there's a lot of water vapor in the atmosphere, and that means the chance for storms increases, excuse me, as we move into the afternoon. I mean, this is the type of atmosphere that is conducive to flash flooding concerns. High dew point air, and that's what we have. Scattered thunderstorms likely later this afternoon into early this evening, a high again of 91 today. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and muggy. It's been uncomfortable sleeping weather, hasn't it? And that looks to continue today. So storminess today, warm and humid. So what we have is we have got an area of high pressure situated right out here in the Atlantic, and we call that a Bermuda high. It's situated sort of right here, and that high pressure system, okay, and the clockwise flow around it just pumps in the humidity here across the East Coast. And so when it interacts with something like a front, which is situated just to our east, right here, then things get stormy. And that's what we expect to happen later today. We've got a good lifting mechanism, which is that front. It starts to lift the air parcels, and then we've got convection that's going to develop. And you can see the front here, too, right on this map, situated right here. Now, there's not a lot of moisture along it just yet, but you can clearly see the outline of it on the map here. And it's right here where the clouds are. Excuse my crude drawing of a cold front, but hey, that's what happens when you telestrate. There it is, and so far so good. But as we do move into the afternoon, that's when we anticipate the worst of this occurring. So we're going to start to break down some of this now by models, and we're first going to look at our NAM model. So let me pull that up here for you. And here is the NAM model, and keep a close eye on south central Pennsylvania because that's where we live, and that's where the action is going to be focused. And it starts to develop early this afternoon, and this again shows little storms developing that are going to sort of congeal into a line later. Some of our eastern counties then get the brunt of the heavy rain as we move into this evening, okay? That's what 22Z is. That's the weather time. That's around 5, 6 o'clock this evening, and then the storms kind of die off. Let me bring up the HRRR model now, the HRRR, which again is pretty good at high resolution stuff. It sometimes can overdo the precipitation, but let me refocus on the HRRR. So a couple of high res models, both indicating sort of similar conditions, and the HRRR definitely favors, again, southern and eastern counties around that same time, which is around 4, 5, 6 o'clock this evening. It kind of misses the west. And so that's sort of an interesting thing to focus on. But both the NAM and the HRRR have some pretty big thunderstorms over top of our southern and eastern counties later on this afternoon and into early this evening. So that is something we will absolutely be watching. Something else I want to show you now is called atmospheric water, what we call precipitable water. And when it's high, that means there's a lot of moisture to work with. So check this out. Look at where we are here in eastern Pennsylvania, Jersey. Again, that I-95 corridor. The greens mean that we have high precipitable water. And so that means that the atmosphere's got a lot of moisture to work with. That's part of the reason why we're concerned about flash flooding. Now, we dry out a bit Wednesday, which is why I think the threat shifts to the south and east tomorrow. Friday looks better, too. And then look at Saturday and Sunday. We start to see this chance increase again, especially on Sunday, with this huge surge of moisture right across the eastern seaboard. And so that means Sunday, I think, we've got a pretty decent chance to see some severe weather. So when you look at the Storm Prediction Center and what they're predicting today, they kind of focus in on that same zone we just talked about. They're looking at a lot of factors. One of them is precipitable water. And notice in this area, we've got damaging wind gusts and isolated flash flooding. And there's almost a line being drawn here across south central Pennsylvania. Most of our southern and eastern counties are included in this risk area. And I think that is the area that's favored. For Harrisburg, which is included here, and points to the south and east of Harrisburg. The farther north and west you live, the less likely you are to see some of this. But watch what happens here according to PrecisionCast. These storms develop after lunchtime, start to form a line and work their way east, and then by 5, 6 o'clock, most of them are east of the area. But again, I also think that it's in these zones, Lancaster, Lebanon, York, that see the worst of it. And then really the next couple of days quiet down a bit. I think most of the threat shifts to the south. Tomorrow should be mainly dry. Even Thursday, although there's going to be some clouds in the morning, that may help limit some convection. Notice not a lot of activity on Thursday either. In terms of rainfall, PrecisionCast doesn't go overboard, which is good news. But I do want to caution you again, what it is suggesting here, and again, we don't know the exact area where this could happen because Lebanon projected not to get much, but I'm highlighting sort of these yellow streaky areas. Some areas could see 1 to 2 inch per hour rainfall rates. If that happens, there's going to be flash flooding, and we think areas to the south and east are favored. So the flood watch today for flash flooding from these storms goes through this evening, from 2 p.m. through this evening for places like Dauphin County, Lebanon County, York, and Lancaster County. And again, I think the favored zones are basically going to be south and east of 81 here. So Harrisburg, Lebanon, York, Lancaster, all included in that. And I think those counties, it's sort of the right idea because that's where the heaviest rain could set up with 1 to 2 inch per hour rates. It's also where we've seen flash flooding in the last couple of weeks. Remember, Manheim got over 6 inches of rain last Monday. So those areas are very susceptible. And when we look at the dew points as well, dew points running this high means the atmosphere is water loaded. You can feel it out there. That's why it's so humid. It feels like a steam bath. So these dew points are going to be sticking around. Now, we may see some mixing out to some drier areas. We indicated, we showed you the precipitable water values for tomorrow. It's a little bit better, but dew points in the 70s still are close, and they're still going to be hanging around for much of the week. So I don't really see a drop in the humidity. And look at the temperature trends. 88s, what I like to call double snowmen here, all the way through next week. I mean, the temperature is going to be pretty consistently near average, which is 87 degrees. And then our precip chances after today, they do dwindle. Yes, there will be a daily chance for a pop-up storm, but the next highest chance will be on Sunday when we get that bump again of precipitable water. So it's all about dew points. Is there a front coming through? I think there will be on Sunday. And then beyond that, will there be enough energy in the atmosphere for a storm or two? I think today is the worst of it. And then I think mostly dry tomorrow. It's still going to be hot and humid, though. A stray storm could pop up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because we're stuck in this muck. But I also think that a better chance for storms will be on Sunday because that's when another front comes through. So, again, we're going to be on top of this for you as we move into this afternoon. I do want to show just a couple more things here, which is the long-range temperature trend. Very consistently in the upper 80s to near 90. This is the NWS blend of models. And now I'll shift over to the European. The European goes a little hot at the end of next week, but still pretty consistent, right around 90 degrees. Upper 80s, right around 90 degrees for the long-range forecast. July is going to be hot, but again, it should be. This is statistically the hottest time of the year. So again, the major concern today is flash flood risk in those eastern counties. There could be some damaging wind gusts with these storms as well. If watches and warnings develop, of course, we're going to be on top of it for you throughout the day, but that's a breakdown of what we expect for now. Thanks for watching Beyond the Forecast, everybody. I'm meteorologist Brett Thackeray. We will see you again soon.